Kia ora, my name's Chloe and I am a trauma therapist based in Raglan in New Zealand. I work primarily with mums, babies and children, and why I do that is one, it really is something I know a lot about. I'm a solo mum of a 4-year-old boy, Arthur, but also it's something I really have grown super passionate about because I see this really as the foundation of a healthy culture. A healthy population is really working with mums who are raising the next generation and with little ones and children who might have had early experiences such as birth trauma or other issues showing up that will, if they're corrected now, it will kind of set them up to do really well in the rest of their life. So I see this really as preventative health. And because of that, I really love working with mums and their little ones on birth trauma. Birth was really designed to be a rite of passage for both mum and baby, a really intense experience, but that is ultimately empowering. And this sets them up for having the confidence in themselves to tackle, for mums, the intensities of having a little one, and for babies, just the immense new world that they're coming part of, the confidence to really navigate that world and come through it. But so often that process is interrupted. This can be through different kind of medical interventions, such as a cesarean section or even an induction that takes that baby's choice away. Or it could be through really just having a very intense experience, a very overwhelming experience. This could be either mum or baby, because it's intense for both of them, that they just felt not listened to, alone or powerless at some point with. And when that happens, basically trauma gets encoded, which means that a part of them stays frozen in time. And so then what happens is any situation that starts to remind them of what happened back then will re-trigger all of those feelings. And this can be disruptive to breastfeeding, to obviously the mental health of the mum going forward, and to breastfeeding and the ultimate, like, just the bonding relationship. I think I said breastfeeding twice. And then have ramifications, like it can just have a cascading effect of increased vulnerability through their whole parenting journey. And the amazing thing with havening is that quite often just one session of havening will clear out that birth trauma. So instead of feeling distressed, disappointed, angry, powerless, depressed about what happened, you'll feel instead like a sense of peace. Sometimes a sense of empowerment comes through, just through being able to view the situation a bit differently. But definitely that sense of peace is there, and that trigger is no longer there. So how havening works is basically when our brain is in those overwhelming traumatic circumstances, it goes into something called gamma waves, which is the fastest brain waves. They're extremely fast. In that high stress situation with those brain waves, a circuit in your amygdala, which is your brain center of threat response, a circuit gets wired together, and that's what creates that trigger. But if we activate that same circuit by remembering the event very briefly, and then we take the brain into delta waves using soothing touch, either on yourself or by a practitioner like me, if we're in person, down the upper arms, on the palms of the hands, around the face, then it activates delta waves, which is the slowest kind of brainwave, and really, and after a few minutes of this, those connections between those neurons in the brain that have formed that trauma circuit just dissolve. It's a really incredible innate healing response that we have, and it has changed the lives of a lot of people that I've worked with, and is especially effective for birth trauma, which is usually a very discrete event. So that can often be cleared in one session for mums and just leave you feeling great, or at least at peace about your birth, instead of it weighing on you and kind of having feeling of being haunted by what happened, and sometimes haunted by what didn't happen that you were really hoping for. With babies, I just work with babies in person for birth trauma, but I've got my little assistant here. But babies, like the rest of us who have been through an intense experience, we kind of like want to talk about it, we want to express it, but they don't necessarily do it in language that everyone can understand or that we're trained to understand. But they do as well have a really innate healing response, which is emotional expression. So if they are able to express what happened in their birth and feel seen in that and validated and met and attuned to, then that also lifts off their system. And so what I generally do, there's a point on the back of the head here that really holds our birth memory. And so I'll carefully make contact with the baby, make a connection, and then very gently just make contact with the back of their head here. And 9 times out of 10, they will start reenacting their birth. They will start grunting, pushing, screaming, all sorts of stuff that's expressing a lot of intensity, a lot of pushing with their legs. And I will just see that and hold that with them, hold space for them, let them reflect that back to me. And at some point, they come through it. And they have this kind of moment of triumph. Like I saw a baby the other day that had not been able to complete his birth. He'd got stuck in the pelvis and had a cesarean section to be able to get out, which was really good, like a life-saving move. But as I began just kind of holding, palpating the back of his head here, he started pushing and turning and he completed the turn. Babies have to do this like turn through the pelvis to get through all the bones there. And then like came up and like looked at me and his mum and like came and immediately went and nursed with his mum. This is a 1-year-old baby. And it was so beautiful. And there's been just changes in this baby's nervous system since then. There's been better digestion, but particularly he's just been really affectionate and more expressive. So yeah, if you feel called, if you've had a troubling or disempowering or downright horrific experience with your birth, then yeah, there are things that we can do that just really like lift that load off you, off your body, off your mind, off your heart, off your nervous system, that will allow you to continue your motherhood journey without that burden. And so if that calls to you, feel free to get in touch and I'd love to work with you.